Good evening and welcome to another edition of Bits and Pieces New York City, where we, bit by bit and piece by piece, we're going to look at the Caribbean life, the Caribbean lifestyle, the Caribbean culture, um, everything Caribbean in New York City. With us this evening are two members of the Galaxy Cricket Club, Telston and Yudesh. Welcome aboard, guys.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
All right. So please like, share the broadcast, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Right.
For another fun conversation. All right.
Every day is a win. You know I try to hold on to it to you.
All right. Good evening again, and you're on Bits and Pieces New York City. With us this evening are Yudesh Bissnauth, captain of Galaxy Cricket Club, and one of the top batsmen, Telston Johnson. Yudesh, for those not too familiar, with the whole cricket thing in New York, but who are lovers of cricket, tell us a little about Galaxy.
Well, Galaxy is a club that's been around for approximately 28 years now. We currently play in the national New York National League, where we're trying to. Our main aim is to connect with the community, try to promote the game of cricket in America, where the sport is not the most popular sport. So we're trying to connect the community and more so promote the sport of cricket. Play a pretty decent brand of cricket. Have some good, very talented players. Our club consists of some national players, some international players, past national players. So we're a good bunch of guys, and our plan is to promote the game in America.
Okay, promoting the game in America. Telston, tell us, since you've come to the US, from Guyana, in terms of the promotion of the game, what in your view do we have to do a little more to get people excited and to get people more involved in terms of coming out to game?
Well, the game is pretty much dominant. It's out there, but the thing is, I don't think there's a lot of people that place that much emphasis on marketing the brand as much as it should be. Business people are very hesitant in the sense of, putting their money into cricket, given the sense that they think that, it doesn't really roll in the kind of revenue that they're looking for, but again, if people decide that, what, we're going to throw our money into the game, or we're going to support the game as much as they should, the game is going to be as dominant as it is, around the world.
Okay.
It just need people to roll in funds. That's all it is.
Right. And in terms of money usage, do you think that would go a long way in terms of really helping to market the game and making it popular?
Of course, when you look at all the other big sports, they're pretty much fueled by all the big brands and big business out there. And in return, they're beneficial. It's very beneficial to them. So don't doubt in cricket, once the business committee get involved and drive the sport forward, there are benefits on both sides.
Okay. In an earlier podcast, I was talking with one of the guests, and one of the points, that kind of popped up is the whole thing about getting our sons, our daughters, our nieces, our nephews, getting the younger people involved, which would automatically help to market the sport. Telston, from your perspective, do you think we've been able to do a good job in terms of bringing in our younger folks?
I still think West Indians in the whole, it's in their blood. Most of them would always want to have their kids in the sport because that is what they grew up knowing. Cricket is their first love. But the problem is the politics that is involved in the cricket in the US as in the Caribbean is still dominant. So it makes people think twice as in whether or not they're going to face the same situation they face in the Caribbean as it is in the US. It's not about promoting talent. Still, it's about who you know and who is willing to, look after a friend's friend, or, that's more or less what it is. So it still drives fear in the mind of parents. Me as an individual, I have a son, I have daughters. If they decide tomorrow that, hey, cricket is what I want to play, you have my support. But I'm not going to instill it in you to say, well, cricket is the way to go, because there's still a long way more to go with cricket development in the US.
So very true.
Okay. You want to add something to that, Yudesh, on the same point?
Absolutely, Telston is on point with that. However, when you look on the brighter side of things, which took a long way coming, but eventually I think it's getting there. Cricket has been played in the schools now, so it's a good step forward, promoting the game and getting the younger generation involved, starting from the schools. But again, that's for basically the kids, younger kids over here. But coming from the Caribbean, it's a bit of an issue that Telston mentioned, where it's who you know and the politics and all of that. But hopefully with time come, all of that brushes aside, and we get the younger generation more involved and smooth transition into fairness.
And what would you say is Galaxy's own plan in terms of doing just that, getting the younger generation involved, getting more people involved?
Well, we're always looking forward for recruiting good youngsters, not good youngsters who are very eager to play cricket. We want to keep the sport alive. We want to promote them. We want to promote the sport, and making sure that when our generation is finished, the younger generation comes and take over. And we want to set a good platform for the youngsters to take over.
Telston, would you, as both a fan and a player of the game, would you say that the brand of cricket played in New York, let's say fans do decide to suddenly just come out and start flood the ground. Do we have the brand of cricket that would excite a strong fan base?
Of course we do. Of course we do. Come to think of it, the level of cricket that is being played in the US is pretty much one level below par as of in the Caribbean. All right, because if you look at it, the opportunity or any opportunity that presents itself for a player from the Caribbean, if they get the opportunity tomorrow and maybe money or not, the first place they come is to the US. And we all compete on the same arena and we are up to par to their level. Given the fact that in the US you are working it's actually cold 6 months, 6 to 7 months, 9 months of the year comparing to the 3 months that you have for the summer. But yet still we are up to par to compete. So, people are fully aware of that because at the end of the day, the fans are going to show up and be like, hey, I would love to see you showcase your talent and be just as good as whoever else because, we are the players that they know. We are the players they know. So they come out on a consistent basis to lend us that support, Your volume. I'm still not able.
Yeah. You can hear me, Tella?
Yeah, I can hear you, Yudesh.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that was...
Yudesh, tell me about the performance of Galaxy so far this season. I think you guys are second in your group.
In our group we're number 1.
Okay.
Yes, we lost one game so far. We're having some very good, solid performances in terms of team-wise, all-around-wise, which is good. We're not getting production from just one player in terms of batting. Multiple players contributing, and as same thing as in the bowling department. So we're looking very solid as the season go on, and the more cricket we play, the better we will get. I know that, as I said, our cricket season is not a very long season, so we have to play at our A game every given game, and looking forward, to go playing some good solid cricket, take it into the playoff, and from there, treat every game as important as the final. So we're looking forward. It's the league is very competitive, which is good for cricket.
Right.
In the region, you're not having one team or two teams who you think everybody go over there and say, hey, these are the two teams that would reach the finals. No, you have 8, 9, 10 teams capable of beating each other any given Sunday weekend. So it's good for cricket.
Okay, great. Glad to hear that. Can you tell some Caribbean fans out there about some of the, former national players that you guys presently have on your.
Well, for us, starting with, we have Devendra Bishu with international experience. We have Yudesh Moti, who is who is playing with the Guyana senior team in all formats. We have Jonathan Fu, who is first-class player. And then we have also Akshay Humraj, who is the current U.S. national keeper. And we have Karen Ganesh, who played for the U.S. national team, and ex-Guyana youth captain Zamal Khan, who played for the West Indies under 19. We also have Telston Johnson right here with a good experience back home playing cricket. Vijay Sinarayan, who played first-class cricket with the likes of Karl Hooper, Shiv Narayan Chandrapal. We have Mushin Parkhan, who played at senior intercounty in Guyana. We also have Hemendra Ramdial, who played for Berbice. So we do have a good mix of players. We also have a youngster by the name of Kiran Krishna, who played for Essequibo. And to round off the team, we have Shiv Raghubar, we have myself, Zulfikar Ali, and Shafiq Shah.
Okay. And would you say that you guys are expecting to be champions of your league this year?
Well, that's expectation, I think, with all teams.
We don't go for anything less. That's it.
Yeah, of course. We go out there to compete and put a process together and trust the process. Hopefully, it takes us all the way to the end and be victorious.
Right. And who, for anyone now beginning to get interested in cricket, who would you say are our rivals out there?
You know, go Telston.
Arch rival is a very, very harsh word to be honest, because once you're going to use that terminology, arch rival, that means you got to come out every Sunday looking over your back, because why weren't we your arch rival when we beat you, a couple of weeks ago or whatever it is, But they got teams like Yudesh earlier mentioned that are playing top brands of cricket right now. And to be honest, in a long time, we haven't had this competitive cricket put together the way the National League has put it together, both Saturdays and Sundays. So it's not like you can actually say, hey, you know what? I'll take a week off this week because you got an easy game. Everybody can show up on a different day with something different to offer. And given the fact that, they got so many players coming up from different islands and are falling into these different teams, everybody is moving strength by strength,
Okay, got that. All right. We want to shift a little. Some weeks ago, we had a Sri Lankan writer. He goes by the abbreviated name Sam T. His full name is Sam Tevanayagam, and he wrote a book about comparing cricket to life and relating things that you learn that you can learn from cricket and apply it to life. So I'm gonna play a clip of that interview, and then we're gonna talk, come back and talk a little.
You've described your wife as a partner, right? And we know how important a partner and a good partnership is. We would have alluded to that earlier. What about how does one deal? Like we had in the West Indies, there was this guy who's considered one of the greatest openers for West Indies, Conrad Hunt. But at that particular time, they just couldn't find a good partner, right? He was good at what he did, but they couldn't find a good partner for him. How does your philosophy tell it? How does one deal with that? He goes out, he may have the right approach in terms of the first 10 runs, applying himself and that kind of thing, but just cannot find the right partner. How does one deal with that?
Right. And so, I did some research on him and I realized that I think he has a record for the 6-wicket partnership with Sir Garfield Sobers, right? I think they played during the same time. And so even though he didn't find a good partner, right, as an opener, he ended up creating a partnership with one of the greatest cricketers of all time, right, which is Sir Garfield Sobers, right? So this is difficult work, right? Because the truth of the matter is, and you will find this in life, that sometimes partners are, they are too impetuous, right? They are too aggressive, or they don't necessarily understand what is going on in the game, or sometimes they don't want to play second fiddle, right? So one of the things I talk about in my book is this understanding of a second fiddle, right? It takes humility to play second fiddle, right? It takes the ability to say, you know what, I'm not going to be the star of the show, somebody else is, right? And so these are not easy things to, come across. But
so Yudesh, we're talking about looking at the lessons from cricket and applying it to life. And here we're talking about partnerships. And, we kind of alluding to the whole issue, sometimes you may be an aggressive player, but there are times where you got to hold back. You got to, hold in that aggression and, for the sake of the partnership. From your own experience, how would you apply what you have learned about building partnerships in cricket to building partnerships in life?
Well, first of all, in cricket, you learn from early age discipline. Everything you do, I think, not in cricket or any sport, in life, you must have discipline. That's one of the main, and it starts with discipline. Anything you do, it starts with discipline. And next thing I would say is the trust. When you play, you have to trust your partner. You have to know when, so you have to make that, you have to allow your partner to make decisions as well. And that's where, you come down and you know the importance of you not taking the lead all the time. You have to play second fiddle and making sure that you show support. And that, it shows you how to be a team player and share responsibility. So in life, you learn those things and from the cricket, and you put them into practice in life as well.
Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Telston?
Yudesh pretty much nailed it, because, yet again, you got to exercise the discipline from home to bring it to cricket, because obviously if you're not disciplined at home, you're totally not going to be a good cricketer, because it requires self-discipline, patience, trust. Those are all the things that comes with the game, hard work, and it's just like a relationship. If you don't have what it takes, then it's not going to work.
Okay. Yudesh, we were talking last week about the prospect of Olympic cricket at the Olympic Games, and tentatively it's set for 2028, the Los Angeles Olympics. What form of the game do you think should be, if we do have it at the Olympics? What form should it be at the Olympic Games?
Well, I think the shortest form, and a form that's very established at the moment. I said a short established form because you want a global audience. You want to introduce cricket to, it's the Olympic. People who don't know about the sport will view it at some point in time. And you don't want it to be boring, because all you hear when you talk to, especially Americans who are not that much affiliated with cricket, it lasts for 5 days. That's the first thing that comes in. They throw that negative vibes to it. But if they actually see it, cricket is very, very entertaining. The T20 version, the T20 version is very, very entertaining, and it's a non-stop action. So introducing the T20 version and one that's very established at the moment. I will say that, and it will, you know, get the attention of people who are not affiliated with cricket to love it.
Okay. Anything you would add, Telston?
Yet again, it's the same concept. The shortest format is the format that everyone would literally, be interested in. Yet again, it's hard to have, the market, the US market, to like literally sit there and be like, oh, oh, no. Mm-mm. You got to get something that they can actually come out, enjoy, and get over with, with a couple of drinks and be prepared for work the next day. That's it. Nobody's have that long attention span to look at 50 overs or test match. It has to be 2020.
Okay.
And the T10 is making a big mark on the market as well. But as of right now, I think the most established of the two formats is the T20 format.
Okay.
It has a long way to go.
All right, good. All right, you're watching Bits and Pieces New York City. We have with us in the studio today Telston Johnson and Yudesh Bissnauth of the Galaxy Cricket Club. Please continue to like and share. And thank you for all the comments you've made so far. Please keep commenting, and we'll be back with you shortly. All right, we're back. It's Bits and Pieces, New York City, and like the name says, we talk a little bit about that and a little bit about this. Gentlemen, outside of cricket, which we would all agree it's a fun thing to watch, it's a fun game to play. Telston, in terms of having fun in New York and coming from the Caribbean, what would you add to cricket as a fun thing to do in New York City?
Other than cricket?
Other than cricket.
Well, to be honest with you, outside of cricket, you got to go back to your culture, sports.
Mm.
You probably go to the park, basketball, whatever, which, as you can, I'm not much of a fan of running around because I could barely make it to the park on Saturdays and Sunday. But, everybody has their cup of tea, whatever works for them. For most of the guys, especially family men, we use cricket as an escaping, way to escape home. So
Right.
if you're going to use, escaping, we probably go to the bar. That's fun.
Right, good.
I have to be frank.
What about you, Yudesh? I know you're a guy, you love your photography. You're always looking for nice bits of landscape and things to take. Who would you say a fun thing to do outside of cricket?
In terms of photography, credit to my wife for getting me into that. So it's not like I have a choice, It's tough for anything to, as Taylor said, coming from the Caribbean, coming from Guyana, it's tough for anything to actually rival cricket. But other than that, I spend time, the family, go sightseeing, go different places. Spend time, all the free times I get. I try to make use of it. With loved ones and making sure, because at the end of the day, when cricket comes, I know it's my time, and I don't get to see them during that time. So when cricket is not playing, it's their time. So it's what I do. I try to make it a balance and get them to understand that, hey, we're not playing cricket all year round, but your time coming.
I'm sure Sadna looking in the background.
20 fingers.
I know, I'm pretty sure she is.
Oh boy.
Telston,
Coming.
what would you're from Guyana originally. What are two things you miss badly from home? That every now and then, sitting in wherever in New York, you say, man, I wish I could go home back to Guyana now because of. What are two things you miss most about home?
Food, right?
Which type of food, or just food generally?
Just the home cooked Guyana food.
Okay.
Right? The home cooked Guyana food and the culture. To me, it's a lot more relaxing. Like every now and again, I frequent Guyana a lot.
Okay.
That much I can tell you.
Right.
But as much as you're here, every now and again, I'm like, I should be on the next flight. Maybe just to sit there and just relax, and knowing that, you don't have to listen for your alarm to wake up for work, or, your boss calling you and like, none of that. So sometimes it's just that freedom of mindset is what you miss your homeland for. It's totally different. The people, and, it's not as busy, it's not as hectic as it is here. So, growing up in that culture, knowing that you're relaxed, you can do so much, it's always something that you would miss. And who don't is because they became a slave to the system. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
What are two things that you miss?
Well, one, I think the weather. I'm a summer guy. I love the outdoors. I love being outside, and majority of the year over here it's cold, and you're mostly indoors. There are a lot of outdoor activities to do in the winter time as well. But you want to be outside and not bundled up. You want to be comfortable, and as Telston said, not. It's calm. It's not as hectic as here. Fresh air, fresh food, fresh fruits, and all of that you miss back home that you can't get here. So those are some of the two things that I really, really miss from back home.
Right.
And even better, if you're coming from Puerto Rico, you would know. There's everything to miss about Puerto Rico.
All right. Cricket in New York. For the uninitiated, Yudesh, could you tell us, about how it's run presently? Something about the league, something that somebody who wants to get in, become a part of the scene, where they can get some information. What's the structure of the league, and how can someone get involved with a team, etc.
Well, I think social media at the moment plays a big part in getting people involved, getting people educated, getting people more noticeable about the game. For those who wants to be involved, there's a lot of social media platforms such as Bits and Pieces. This is a platform that you can get. It's very informative. You can get a lot of information from this. The internet, you can go, Facebook. And in terms of the league, there are not a lot of leagues. There used to be more leagues in New York City, but now that I think that they're not so much such big numbers league, it's more organized, it's more competitive, and it's very much streamlined to more organized. So those are things that partakes with the league, and social media plays a big part in it as well.
Sorry. What's the name of the league that Galaxy is playing in? How many teams in that league?
Oh, we're currently playing in the National League. Have 20 teams on Sundays, which are divided into two groups, A group and B group. On Saturdays, I think it's the same amount of teams, and they're all very, very competitive teams. It's a proper structured. It's I think it's since I've been playing cricket in New York, it's one of the best league I've played in, and it's good things.
Okay, good to hear that. So for the say, I have a 80-year-old son, and that son wants to become a part of a team. What's the procedure? What's the process?
Well, there kids program going on at Idlewild Park during the summer. I know for a fact that some of the indoor facilities out in New Jersey does have a kids program as well, coaching and practice. And I think during the winter as well, the indoor indoor facility have that bracket of time where they have the youth programs to promote the game and making sure they have the coaches and actually a lot of parents take their kids over there and making sure that uh, they are introduced properly to the game.
Okay, that's New York cricket. You're watching Bits and Pieces New York City, and we're talking to Yudesh and Telston, players of the Galaxy Cricket Club. Telston, West Indies did themselves proud recently, with the T20 series against Australia. Every now and then we would show up. What in this recent triumph, what do you think worked that wasn't working before?
I think the selection panel, they did a better job comparing to the South Africa series. A lot of, they included the players that were included in the sense of Hettemeyer. Of course, he's one of the more dominant players out of the Caribbean. That was one of the missing links of the West Indies batting lineup. He's currently in there. And I think, they gelled better. Everybody contributed a lot better. And, given the fact you can't take a W away from them, they're basically playing a B division Australia team, a level 2, because Australia is missing about 6 of the more predominant players. But yet again, it's Australia. A W is always a W. But I think once West Indies have their core players, all right, and everybody plays at the full strength, they would definitely deliver, in my opinion. That's all that is required. The selectors to do their job, and once the players show up and do their part of the job, we're gonna get results.
What, in your view, has contributed to our inconsistency over the years? I mean, just the other day in Bangladesh, we made the most runs ever for 4th innings for anybody, any test team in in the Asian part of the world. What do you think affects our consistency?
Well, one thing that affects our consistency is, I think, with all these franchise cricket going around playing worldwide, I think we're losing a lot of our top players to those franchises who actually are benefiting more financially from those franchises, as opposed to playing for West Indies. And as such, you see a lot of players retire early from the game, retiring from Test cricket, or giving up international duties just to be part of those franchises. And those players are highly started off after, because they're cut above the rest, and they're you would say premium players. So that contributed a lot towards the West Indies downfall. Also, the board and the players never seems to be seeing eye to eye. There's always some contract disagreement there. So until those things are sorted out, I think, and not West Indies alone, you will see different cricket nations as well losing out because of franchise cricket.
Okay, the money. I mean, that's an interesting point there. Telston, looking at it, as a young man, looking at it realistically, you given a choice: play for your national side and play for 50 cents, play in a franchise and play for $1.50. How do you base your decision? Do you base your decision primarily on money? Do you base on national pride? How do you approach that?
That is a very, very touchy subject right there. The reason being, all right, in the past, your national side, all right, remember it's a trend for them, and me as a player coming up, or, just for example, per se, all right, I have the option. I get into, my national team, and then I'm offered, a lump sum of money to go participate in a franchise. With what transpired in the past, in the way that they have shone numerous of the national players, all right, and disregarded them on so many occasions, you have to take the opportunity and go make that dollar while you're young, and you have your talent, because at the end of the day, it's security for you. If you sit down and you do an analogy and you look at Shiv Chandra Paul, he has been discarded by the West Indies Cricket Board with not even a proper send off. And that is one of the individuals that contributed so much, immensely to cricket. And, in terms of like bowlers as Courtney Ambrose, Courtney Walsh, we have, we as West Indians, we have some of the most dominant seam bowlers in our time. But yet still, we still struggle to find ourselves a proper bowling coach. So seemingly it has to be something, along the line of thread. So you got to utilize the opportunity, make what you can make, not giving up your national pride and everything else. But at some point you have to, I just contradicted myself, but you have to, because you got to look out for your health, your family, and yet again, you don't know how long it's going to last.
Okay. Who would you add to that, Yudesh?
Well, franchise also, you have this coal pack deal that goes on in England, where, as Telston said, it's gives you that sense of security where you signed a long-term contract knowing that you're secure there. A coal pack deal lasts for, I think, a few years. So, and also when good players being discarded by their because of politics, and there are some players out there putting in strong performance but still being ignored by selectors. Sometimes give them no other choice but to turn to these franchise and go out there, and in the long run, in most cases, turning to this franchise when it concern monetary benefits, it's the best way to go for a lot of players. I know not so much players, which is sad. Not so much players play for national pride anymore, like back in the days. But back in the days, when you look, those players were not, offered these franchises well. So you can't really make that uh, assessment where if franchise were there, these players wouldn't go at that, back in the days. But now that they have it, they do what's best for them.
And if and it's just not affected, the West Indies Cricket Board. It's going on in South Africa, Bangladesh, so many of these other countries. The reason why, because the board is not taking care of their players. They're not getting that financial support because, again, they're committed. These are committed people that have families and everything else. But you're not looking out for me. Why should I take pride and, just put myself out in the rain? Don't make any sense.
Yeah, well, I guess that's certainly the reasoning. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We will close out with you just telling us where fans can find Galaxy, say, over the next 2 weekends, where you guys are playing, who the teams you're playing against.
Well, unfortunately, we're not getting, the full schedule. But to begin with, you can follow us, our Galaxy Cricket Club page on Facebook. All of the matches we post there. It's easy, very, very easy to find us there. This Sunday we do have a very big team we're playing against ACS at Lido Beach. It's 1 o'clock. So for those who want to come out and see some good cricket, report to Lido Beach at 1 o'clock Sunday. Also, we do have a Saturday team, which myself and Telston is part of, called the New York 11. And so happened that we're playing ACS on Saturday with our New York 11, and we're playing ACS Sunday with Galaxy as well. So,
wow. Should be an interesting weekend.
Oh yes,
action packed.
Any closing remarks, Telston?
I must say, it was a pleasure being on Bits and Pieces. Thank you for having us, and we're definitely looking forward to coming back on the Bits and Pieces program to celebrate our victories. You can actually have us.
And I know Yudesh as captain may not want to proclaim that, but it might be at the back of his mind that Galaxy will be taking out the trophy. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you so much for agreeing to come on, and best of luck to you and the rest of the team for the season. All right, and thank you, viewers, to stay with us.
On behalf of the Galaxy team, we just want to say thank you to all our supporters that come out every Sunday. I know the back end of the tournament coming up soon. Just stay with us. It's not long, but we need the support. And also, thanks to all our sponsors for making this possible for us players. So thank you guys. And Nancy, always a pleasure being with you, and looking forward, as Telston said, later on again.
All right. Thank you, folks. And we're out. Good night.
Yep.